Well, welcome back. Now, in this episode, I'm going to answer your question, is North Carolina a tax lien or a tax deed state? Well, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, it's a tax deed state. And what does that mean? It means they're going to sell the property at auction. And all the counties that you can see there on that map, all of those counties will have tax deed auctions. They have those auctions year-round, and they have no redemption period. So let's learn a little bit about that. Now, I don't make the rules in North Carolina. The legislature always makes the rules. And when they've completed making the rules, they put them in books. And they call those books the statute books. Statute, it's like the state statute, the state law. All right, so North Carolina has chosen to be a tax deed state. That means if you don't pay your taxes, they're going to confiscate the property. I'll be right back and give you the details. North Carolina is a tax deed state, so don't even think about tax liens. That simply means the legislature made the rules, and the rules they made says they will confiscate the property, they'll seize the property if you don't pay your taxes. That's been going on for decades. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you so that you understand how. You're going to understand about how to buy real estate for 60, 70, 80%, in other words, pennies on the dollar. You're going to learn how to do that. These properties are sold at auction for 10, 20 cents on the dollar for their starting bids. And they're sold without a mortgage. That's right, the treasurer has the power to delete the mortgage. Now, I don't make the rules, the legislature makes the rules. And once they've made the rules, they pass the rule down to the local county, either the Board of Commissioners or the Board of Supervisors or the county commissioners, then will run the county. And they will tell the treasurer not only to levy the tax, but to collect the tax. And if they can't collect the tax in North Carolina, they will seize the property. All right, now that's where you come in, because the property has been seized. What is the county going to do with that property? They're going to resell it, and they're going to have a tax deed auction. So a tax deed auction means they're going to sell the property, the mortgage has already been wiped out, and they're going to try and get as high a price as they can. So every single county will put them out for auction in the hopes of getting higher and higher prices. What do they do with the money? They pay the county bills with all that money. All right, so the treasurer is dictated to do all this work. So they're going to send out notices of default. All right, that notice of default will tell the consequences to the property owner. You either pay your tax or lose the property. All right, now I don't make the rules, but I'm going to tell you, if you own property in the United States, everybody can own it, but you have to pay tax. So who levies the tax? The treasurer, the tax collector. They're going to levy that tax, and when they do, they're going to come out and try to collect it. If they can collect it, they're happy. Now, most people pay their tax, and they don't have to go out and collect it. But in this case, if the person's in default, they're going to confiscate that property. That means they're going to take that property over. So people default all the time. That means the county will confiscate, and once they've confiscated, they're going to have an auction. So think of the process. Start at the supervisors, down to the county, now it's down to the treasurer. If they don't get paid, they're going to auction the property. All right, they're going to auction it to the highest bidder. Now, that auction is going to take place usually on the courthouse steps or in some kind of county facility. All right, the auction bidding starts at very low prices. The county doesn't want the property, so they're going to sell it at tax defaulted auction price, and that simply means whatever the taxes were, plus maybe some attorney's fees or small fees, they're going to start the bidding at this very low price. So that means you can be buying property 60%, 70%, 80% discounts, and there's no mortgage. Now, what happens to the mortgage? Well, the treasurer has been given the power by the legislature to wipe out the mortgage. Just wipe it out. It's wiped off the property. Okay? That means that the property owner that was there still owes the mortgage, but it's no longer on the property. So you're going to buy a property that doesn't have a mortgage. Think about that. Now, some states use deed of trust. Matter of fact, North Carolina does that. So the deed of trust or the mortgage is wiped out. Okay, I don't do that. The county treasurer is authorized to do that. Now, that doesn't mean they go tear the mortgage up. The mortgage is still owed by the person because they signed the promissory note. You didn't. But you're going to get a property almost free and clear. All right, it's a nice way to buy property. All right, now, the auction takes place, and once it takes place, then we have someone that's going to own the property. So how's the auction work? Anybody can go to the auction. It will be advertised in the newspaper. It'll be on the county website. It'll be noticed. Everybody can have a notice of that. So anybody can find it in the newspaper, the county website. You'll find the auction notice. All right, anybody can go. Remember, the bidding starts low and then it works its way up. Now, if you buy one of those properties in North Carolina, they have some unusual rules. In most cases, when you raise your hand at the auction, you buy a property. If you're the highest bidder, you get possession. Okay, when you're the highest bidder, you get possession. However, in North Carolina, they do that a little differently. And I'm going to explain that as we go along. All right, so the auction prices are low bids. Anybody can do it. It's always published in the newspaper. It's always published online. Okay, the treasurer is going to conduct the auction. Treasurer has a lot of power. Treasurer could change the pricing if they want. Treasurer could take the mortgage off the property if they want. In other words, they can do a lot. Now, the treasurer will normally wipe the mortgage out, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, now people say, well, wait a minute, Ted. Why am I giving this money to the government? You're going to give the money to the county government because they've got a lot of bills to pay. What do you mean a lot of bills? Well, the county government pays for the school teachers. They pay for the police. They pay for the fire department. They send some money to the hospital. They fix the roads. They run the court system. They have to pay the county employees. So all that money comes from property tax. So when they sell this property, they desperately need that money. All right, so all these auctions are open to anyone that wants to go. You can go, you can take your friends, you can do whatever you want. Just make sure you understand the rules. Highest bidder always wins. North Carolina is different. If you win the bid, that doesn't mean you're going to get immediate possession. All right, so I want you to understand that you're going to go there, you're going to win the bidding. They're going to say, bravo, you won it. Unfortunately, it's going to take a little time before you get that property. What does that mean? Well, it means that North Carolina has a rule that they're going to make sure that that property gets the absolute highest bid. So what they will do, when the bidding is finished, they'll say, you won the bid, but someone could do an upset bid for so many days. And I'll come back to that in just a second. All right, but understand, you get the property at auction. However, the lien does not, the deed does not come to you right away because they're going to allow upset bids. However, they don't advertise those upset bids, but they have an upset bid. So you're going to not get possession. You'll have the deed in your hand. Now, what is this upset bid stuff? Well, it's a waiting period. It's just a period that the county's waiting and see if someone else would come in and bid. Now, they don't have to bid very much, but they're going to have to bid some percentage higher to get it. So that doesn't mean you have to stop bidding. It just means someone else wants to compete with you. But if nobody else shows up, you will still get the property. All right, there's nothing unusual about this in North Carolina. It's unusual compared to other states. For example, if you went to South Carolina, they sell tax lien certificates. And when they sell the certificate, if the people don't pay it, then the county in South Carolina is just going to send you the deed. Wow, now you own the property. You don't have to do anything. So you bid on the certificate. If they don't pay you, you get the deed and they send it to you. It's as easy as that. North Carolina is different. You go to an auction, you bid, highest bidder wins, and now you have to wait. What are you waiting for? Well, it's an upset bid. Okay, so the upset bid might be, that county might allow just $750 more. If you want to bid after that, you can bid more. Okay, but the point is, you don't get possession. South Carolina, you get possession. All right, so you're getting the idea. So it could be just a little bit there. All right, so you need to just look at the process, and here's what's really going to happen. What you need to understand, most important thing I can tell you, is you need to know the rules. I didn't make them. The legislature made the rule. Then they passed it down to the Board of Commissioners, or the Board of Supervisors, or the county commissioners, and then they're going to enforce that. All right, so I don't make the rules. You just need to know it. So you don't want to go to an auction that you haven't, one, looked at the property, and two, that you don't know the rules. All right, all they're trying to do is they're trying to get as much money as they possibly can. It's a little different than some of the other states, but all the states are different and all the counties are different. But you're getting the idea. All right, so if you understand the rules, you're going to be okay. If you don't understand the rules, then you need to find someone that's going to explain all that to you. All right, so the upset bid will have a time limit. In other words, they might say, people can do an upset bid for 10 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever it is. You're still the highest bidder. If no one comes in and does an upset, all right, you're going to get the property. But they'll have a time limit. Do I know all those time limits? Only if I go and check the records. So what's my lesson? What's the lesson I'm trying to give you? You've got to understand the rules. Don't go to an auction like 98% of those people. They don't have a clue on what the rules are. And then they get themselves into a pickle. Okay. In other words, it might be open for 10 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. I don't know what it is. It'll be up to county. The county will decide all that. All right. North Carolina is a tax deed state. They are going to auction the deed to the property. So let me close with a couple of final things. Number one, the biggest mistake people make at the auction is they don't go look at the property. If you don't go look at the property, you're making a big mistake. Why? What if it was next to a chicken farm? What if it was next to a pig farm? What if it had already burned down? What if there had been a hurricane? North Carolina knows about hurricanes. There could have been a flood. So you don't want to buy a property that you haven't looked at. Second big mistake that people make, what is that? Well, that big mistake is they don't have a selling strategy. I call that an exit strategy. So if you don't have an exit strategy, you're going to go there and you're going to try to win. Well, you'll win, just be the top bidder. But you'll stop bidding when you figure out, I've got to sell it for this, so I better buy it for something less. And you'll stop bidding. So you want to have an exit strategy before you go. Now, my name is Ted Thomas. I'd like you to like the video. If you want to have questions, just send your questions in. We're happy to answer them. Below me is a free gift. Just go right down there and get the free gift. I'm Ted Thomas. I'll see you on another video.